Ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason that this gentleman is called the apartment rock star. The apartment rock star. Okay. We haven't had an opportunity to meet with him several times. He is one of our mentors of the Freedom Chasers. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Martinez is absolutely fantastic, and he is the best at what he does. There's a reason that he is the two-time National Apartment Owner of the Year. There is a reason that he has had over 15 successful, don't miss this fact, over 15 successful 100% cash out refinances for his, if you're funny, 100% cash out refinances for his investors, okay? And he owns thousands of units. It is our privilege. It is our honor. We are extremely grateful to welcome back again to the Activation Zoom and the Multifamily Freedom Chasers, Mr. Robert Martinez.
Let's go. What is up, man? How's it going?
It's going extremely, extremely well.
Okay.
It's absolutely fantastic to have you again. It was a privilege to have you on earlier this year and to have you back again. And there's been a little bit of change since we last spoke, but we're going to get into that, Robert. We have some new people here on tonight. We don't want them to miss an opportunity to really understand a little bit about who you are, where you come from, your kind of journey in a nutshell, right? Like, you know, what you're doing before real estate, how you got into real estate. And I think something that would be really cool, Robert, I know in getting to know you a little bit, your mom is extremely special to you. And if you could just, because of Mother's Day, right? If you could just weave in a little of that, some of that mama story in there, I think that would be very fitting for the occasion.
I think that's amazing. You know, today is Mother's Day, and it is an amazing day. And it's one of those few holidays we actually have that I think is warranted. You know, we don't need Postman's Day. You know, we don't need something day. Next, you know, we're going to have Apartment Syndicator Day, but we don't need that. But we need to have Mama's Day. You know, mamas are the very first person you see in your life, you know, and they will take care of you and guard you. And more importantly, they will give you your values. You know, whether you're a single mom or you're the product of a traditional unit at home, you know, moms do everything. They keep the glue together. They help support dad. They help support the children. And, you know, mothers are, if you look up the word sacrifice in the dictionary, you should see mothers, because Absolutely. That's what they do. They do. Absolutely. And really, so with that, they're one of your first mentors, you know. And my mom, you know, is amazing because she is bigger than life. She has a huge personality. You know, my dad was the smartest guy I ever met, literally, like, was valedictorian of high school, you know, should have worked at NASA. Just knew everything, could do number sense in his head for you older guys out there. He was like a state, you know, slide rule champ, state number sense. Like, he could do everything. He was a computer. He could have worked at NASA in the 60s. You know, they could have had a movie about him, but he didn't have any confidence. You know, he grew up in a very low income situation with, like, I don't know, up-teen, you know, brothers and sisters. And so, you know, hand-me-downs and all those kind of things really affect you. You know, my mom wasn't too dissimilar, but mom didn't have that cerebral energy that my dad had. So she had a little personality. She was a great athlete, but she was a really just fantastic believer that she can do anything, whether it was true or not. Mom had the ego. And so she drove my dad. My dad was able to achieve some great things in his life before he passed away. But my mom is like, you know, she put it all into us to believe in ourselves and to have confidence and to, you know, talk out loud. And, you know, she's not always in favor of social media and what I say and my political beliefs or what have you, but she understands that you have to gain attention, you know, and I really, really am so happy mom's still with me today. And, you know, and I'm glad my children get to see her, because they get to see a little bit of who my mom is. You know, my now fiance, she's just like, you know, your personality comes straight from your mom, you know, and I appreciate that. So I have a little bit of my dad's, you know, cerebral energy, but I have my mom's ability to promote it. So when I see a guy like Grant, I heard you mention Uncle G earlier, you know, that's where it comes from. How much credit does he give to his mom? You know, I wish we all got a chance to meet her, but you know, she became a single mom because his father passed away, and she was there raising the children, and you know, went into desperation mode to save the children, but also then just kept promoting them. And I think Grant said she was the only one that believed him in the end when he was going through his personal issues, you know, and she gave him that check to help him get started. And next thing you know, he's done an amazing job with his life, taking care of his sister as well. So, you know, I think that all comes from your mom, you know, so kudos everybody, and happy Mother's Day to all the ladies in the room. We would not be able to do without you.
That's right.
It would be a mess of a world. But a little bit about myself. So I got started like way back when. Like, it is amazing for me to watch the world we are in 2023, because when I got started in what I now look at like the Stone Ages, right, the Dark Ages, we didn't have social media like this, right? We barely had internet, you know, and we didn't have the ability to network like this. And we all now know how important networking is. But hey, Victor, I'm sorry to get a chance to say hi to you. And of course, Marcel, I think he's out today. And so when I got started in a real estate club. There's a lot of clubs out there. And back then there was none of this kind of Zoom club. Zoom didn't even exist yet. Zoom really came out because of COVID. 2020, what survived 2020? Amazon, Netflix, and Zoom, right? But what do you got to have all those to win? You got to have four walls and a roof. And that's why apartments survived, you know, during 2020. So going back to my story, you know, mom and dad said, go to school and get good grades because they're your first mentors. So I did that. And then I go on to college, and your next mentors are your professors. And they say, you know, you need to study well, interview well, so you can go get a good job, max out on your 401k and work there for 40 some years.
That's right.
That is the American dream. Go buy you a house, have a couple of kids, you know, and like, you got to live to work. I mean, you know, you have to go through that. You know, you don't get to enjoy life. And so what brought me to discover real estate was I'm a sales guy. I mean, I have an engineering degree from Texas A&M, and I did well. I mean, I made about $150 back in, you know, 2005, 2007. So I don't know what that's worth today, but it's a lot more. And as any good sales guy, you guys in the room realize, I want to get paid for what I kill at night. I want to take home what I kill. It's what my spouse expects of me. It's what I expect of me. So I'm going to go out there and plant those seeds. I'm going to shake hands, kiss babies the old fashioned way. I don't get to use there was no FaceTime. There was no Zoom calls. You had to go do it the old way, the old fashioned way. And so after 2 or 3 times of doing that, you know, my employer decided to rework my commission plan. And that meant I was making less money, and I hated that. So I decided I need to do something about it. I looked into, you know, a coin-operated water vending business, laundromats, car washes.
I didn't know that, Robert. That's new to me.
A child care facility. I really got close on the laundromat. You know, I bought a book and I was studying it and going through it. And, you know, I didn't know what I didn't know. I'm a big believer in God, though, and I believe God pushes you in the right direction. I think it was time for me to do something, but it wasn't any of those things. You know, it was real estate, you know. And I remember I was looking at this, you know, fourplex that was in my mom's hometown, brand new, you know, fourplex, not 5 units, right? So I'll get to that story in a minute. 4 units, and I'm like getting ready to buy it. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait. But I want this. And I discovered the real estate club in Houston. Well, I came to one of their free events, which is basically what this is now. This is like the weekly, you know, Thursday night event but you save on the drinks and all that. Right. And you bring in presenters and you show what the power of real estate is. Well, that was a Rich Dad Poor Dad book that came to life to me. I'd never been in a room with 200 other people that all wanted the same thing. They all wanted financial independence. They all wanted a passive stream of income, and they wanted to have something different than what their mom and dads didn't teach them. So I went ahead and I signed up for the 2-day boot camp that week, $500. This story may sound familiar to a lot of people. And I remember sitting in the front row, and I wanted to absorb everything. And by the time I left Saturday, I was thinking, I'm going to be the single family king, Trevor. I thought I was going to buy 3, 4, 5 houses, and I'm going to substitute the money that my employer was taking from me. I was having my second child was just born a little bit earlier. And so I'm just like, wow, okay, what am I going to do to offset this childcare money that I need to have? Because my wife was also making a lot of money at the time. And I'm a big believer, okay, in husband-wife groups, by the way, and I'll get to that in a minute. And she was supportive of that. And so she allowed me to go forward. I went Saturday, thought, I'm going to be a single family king. Sunday comes around and I get exposed to multifamily, and I think single family is good, but I had some money to work. We had built some, we were very responsible. We had done the right things. We had both gone to college. We both had engineering degrees. She made 3 times what I made, 4 times what I made. So we had a decent nest egg of around $800,000 put away. Nice. And our whole goal was that we were going to max out on our 401ks, which is roughly, I don't know what it was, 15, 17,000 a year. I didn't realize FICA stopped at 95,000. I learned that along the way. So I was like, wow, we got pay increases whenever we got our bonuses and we hit over that 95,000 threshold. So we put the extra money in IRAs and all this kind of stuff, buying bonds, muni bonds, corporate bonds, different things to kind of offset our yield. Thinking that, when we get to 60 or 50 years old, when we got to 50, which is I'm about 2-3 years away now, I would have $1 million. That was our goal. When I saw multifamily and I saw the power of forced appreciation, what I now call the magic formula, I was blown away how I could get to that goal so much faster.
Absolutely.
And bring more certainty because there was mentorship around it. And so I went ahead and I joined. And I remember the moment I gave that guy $10,000, that's what it was to join the club. He looked around and he said, 80% of you will do nothing with what I'm about to teach you. You will quit, you will do nothing with it. And I remember looking at myself, man, it was hard to get 10K from my wife's purse. I don't think that I could be that guy. I'm going to learn it. So I would go to all the meetup events that they would have. I would go to the bus road trips on Friday. Back then they had online learning only, and you had to pay an extra $10 an hour for it. And you would watch videos of the guy talking about accounting principles in multifamily, talking a little bit about operations, talking about due diligence, talking about these different things. And there were old videos. Anybody ever see Grant Cardone's, Cardone U, where you see a lot of old Grant? That's these right. You see a lot of old videos or old members. And I would always watch the case studies, right? Because I wanted to see what people were doing. I want to see everyday people like me doing this. Now, again, my daddy worked at Whataburger for 40 years. And he should have worked at NASA. Okay, but that's the confidence that he didn't have in him. He should have worked at NASA. He was the smartest man that I ever met and still have ever met. My mom worked at Hager's, Levi's, before those companies went south. So I am a product of middle class. I just made a decision back in 2007 that I want something else. I am where I'm at today because of that decision. So if you are complaining about where you're at today, you have nobody to look for your answers but the guy in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. It is the choices you make today that will affect you tomorrow. So if you don't like where you're at right now, or you want to be in a better situation, you need to make those choices today. So I made that choice to join that club, $10,000, and I got exposed to this amazing world of multifamily investing. And I would go and I would listen to different speakers. I never went anywhere else. It was the weirdest thing. I didn't know there were other clubs. That's how narrow-minded I was. In fact, that club brainwashed us into thinking everything else is the devil. We teach the truth. It was like a cult. And if you were caught at somebody else's event, you were excommunicated.
Wow. That's intense, Robert. That's intense, man.
It was. It was very much a cult. That it was their way or the highway, and anything anybody else taught was wrong.
Wow.
And so with that, I was taught very interesting principles that I think have made a big success for me today that are not common today. See, we all talk about if you want to go fast, go alone, you want to go far, go in a team. But in the world that I came from in this real estate club, it was all on you. If you were going to syndicate and raise money, you quit your day job and you work it every day. Somebody just gave you $100,000. Don't moonlight on them. And if you're raising $2 or $3 million, that's a lot of money if you just took from people's pocket. They want you to do that. So that's not today's world. Today's world, you can do a lot of syndication. Today's world is where you could commingle with people, but commingle is a bad word. Syndication was a bad word. There was no co-GP. It was lead partner. You are the lead investor and everybody else is the passive investor. You made the decision. So you will sign on the note by yourself. You would take all the recourse risk. There was no extra compensation for it. You get your 5% management fee, 3% property, 2% asset fee. For the longest time, I never knew that there was a difference between property management and asset management because I did it all by myself. I did it all together. So in the last 15 years, I have raised $184 million by myself. I've returned $130 million.
Robert,
Yeah.
these stats are unbelievable. I want to make sure everybody is catching that right there. Can you say those two stats one more time?
Yeah. Because I didn't depend on anybody. I was not allowed to depend on anybody. I only depend on myself. And I wasn't in a hurry. See, a lot of guys want to get in a rush. They join a real estate club like this. They want a partner. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, they're buying a $30 million deal. The problem with that is you don't deserve to buy a $30 million deal. You have not put the time in, and you're going to get crushed. You got to start small. My first deal, where I was by myself, right? I had my partner in the management company that I had seen from 2007 when I joined to 2011. I formed a management company with a buddy. He was the GP. I was the operating arm. He never shared a dollar of equity with me. I put my money in. He took his cut. Socks, right? He took his cut out of me as if I'm a normal passive investor. But I ran the management company. I trained the sales team. I operated all. And through the recession, I brought us through 3 100% refinance events between 2008 and 2011.
Let's go.
And then I started my own group when he said to me, when I wanted to be my own operating, my own GP. And he's like, nope, I want you working for me. And this is where I feel about partnerships. Partnerships will start and partnerships will end. So just make sure that there's a handshake agreement on when that partnership's going to end, and it's going to work.
Yep,
the goal is to get him to 1,000 units and to get me to 1,000 units. It actually turned into 2,000 units for him. I bought my first one with 118 and he cut it off. He's like, nope, I'm not going to help you. I don't want you doing this. I don't feel like you're going to focus on my deals. So he and I had a parting of ways. But from 2010, when I did that first deal, to now, I've raised $184 million.
That's incredible.
One deal at a time. 2010, one deal. 2011, one deal. And these are baby deals, okay? The 2010 deal, that was 118 units. And I raised, it was a $2.9 million purchase, and I raised 1.5. And it took me every bit of the time to raise 1.5 million. It was in the heart of the Great Recession. People were afraid. They were afraid to buy, Trevor, a $2.9 million deal where each unit is 24.5 a door.
That's kind of mind blowing to think about. I mean, it sounds like an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, well, but it is now. You see, and that's the power. In a 10-year horizon, you're going to make money, but it's going to do this somewhere in there. You're going to do this thing like what's going on right now, but then one day it's going to go like this, and that's what happened. We bought a sister deal in 2011, 126 units, 1.9 million, 15.5 a door.
Wow.
Now, from 2011 to 2020, the day before we sold it, we had made roughly 400% on that money. Okay, so you're looking at 9 years. But in that year that we sold it, it exploded our returns to where when we sold it, it looked like we had made 95% on our money every year.
My goodness.
Because our basis was low, the cap rates were low, interest rates were low, and somebody paid us, we sold that for $100,000, and we paid 15.5 a door. We raised was it $1 million? No, was it a million? 1.5? Yeah, 1.1 million. 1.1 million. See, that's what happens. You have this nice steady, and then all of a sudden you get that payday, and it goes up, and it looks like we didn't make 95% a year, but it looks like we did based on the final numbers. We had made 400%. So that is the power of real estate. You get into these deals early enough, you get them in at the right moment, and you hold. And what we're going through right now is period. Yeah.
Perfect time. What's happening right now, Robert?
Yeah. So the Fed has effed it up for everybody. And the Fed is causing what is pretty much nicknamed the Great Reset. And it's going to be the greatest buying opportunity that I have seen since the Great Recession. The difference between this one and the last one is that last one, it was a true economic recession. Now, that may still come. I don't think it will. That may still come. But back then, rents were $500, $600 a door. Still bargain when you're paying $24.5 or $15.5 or $28.5 a door. 30 a door was my first 4 deals. Rents are high. So you don't have a distressed asset. What you have today is a distressed seller, because these guys, me included, have bought deals with variable rate debt. Means that the interest rate could go up. Yep. And we did that because the market pushed us to do that. You see, everybody on social is quoting these crazy returns. And the only way you can get those returns is if you buy something value added and then sell it in 2 to 3 years or 5 years. Well, if you do that, you don't want to put permanent debt, because then you're going to get stuck with a very high prepayment penalty.
Yep.
You know, and so the market pushed syndicators to do that, me included. And so because of that, we have been exposed, right? Yep. The rates were down here for so long that, and if you look at the rate, I don't have the curve here, but if you look at the Fed curve on what it looked like, rates were actually trending upward, stayed steady, and all of a sudden in 2019-20 came down. And they stayed like that for the next 2 years, maybe 3, 2 years, almost 3 years, 19, 20, 21, and they sucked everybody back in. And this is where you have your problems. Anybody that bought deals between the end of 2019 and the start of 2022 is in trouble. They're in trouble because they have variable rate debt. And what does that mean? That means that now their mortgage payment has doubled or tripled. And so now they no longer have cash flow. They're having to meet this extra debt, right? Obligation, and they're keeping the deal alive. Well, now we have another issue. Now we have crazy insurance. So if you have any deals in the coastal area from Florida to Texas, we are all upside down. Every single one of us, I don't care who you are. Texas through Florida, you're upside down. Our property insurance per door went from, let's say, $700 to $900 a door to $1,400 to $1,600 a door.
My goodness.
And so that's a triple whammy. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
One, you have escrows. The escrows were not built on $1,500, $1,600 a door. So you're going to be short escrow money. So now the lender says to you, hey, you don't have enough. We're going to send them what we have, which is 20, 30% of what it is. You need to send the rest of it.
Yep.
So there it goes, out of your reserves. Number two, we as the lender, as the majority owner of the deal, don't want to get caught with this again. So we're going to escrow higher monthly on property insurance from you.
Oh man, that hurts.
Here's the third one, and the one that's the biggest killer. Our goal as an apartment syndicator operator is to raise revenue, lower expenses. And what just happened? My expenses, what we call non-controllable expenses, just went through the roof. At the same time that cap rates are higher than when we bought the deal, which means we are way underwater. If we were forced, gun to our head, to sell today, you would be dramatically underwater. Yep. Dramatically. And sadly, there are guys in that situation that their loans are coming due right now. In fact, between now and 2025, there's 1.5 trillion that the Fed believes people will default.
That's commercial real estate, or is that
commercial real estate?
Wow. Okay. So
because
Robert,
they have no home, they have nowhere to go. They cannot refinance it with what they have, so they're going to have to put money into the game, a lot of it, to balance out the ratio. Or they sell to someone like you, and you're like, well, I want to pay what the market see. I'm a market buyer. I need you to be a market seller. And you're like, I can't be a market seller, I'll lose. I'm like, well, then I guess you're going to lose, because here's what I'm offering. And great, you don't want to buy today? That's cool. I'll wait for you to suffocate. See, what's happened is that there is a giant plastic bag over every apartment syndicator's head who has a variable rate debt.
That's right.
And he is running out of air. See, you die in the apartment game when you run out of time and you run out of money. both of which are occurring.
Yep, that's right.
But if you have the commitment to survive, then you can find the creativity. See, necessity is the mother of invention. You will find the creativity to find a way to poke a hole in that plastic bag and give yourself a little bit of life and to go. So what's going to happen right now is that the next 2 years, I think we're going to see a pause in the federal fund rate. And beginning in September, I believe you're going to begin to see a slight decrease. And it's I just refinanced one of our deals because I got 11 of these deals that I'm talking about. And
11
two
that have rate exposure.
That have rate exposure. 2 of them, and let me tell you, when you have 11 deals, you turn into deer in the headlight. And these big groups that have 20, 50, 100 deals like that have been doing this, deal in the headlight. When you're a unsophisticated or low experienced investor and you have a couple of deals like that or just one, you're deer in the headlight because you don't know what to do. Nobody has ever seen it. So anybody out there that says, oh, you knew rates were going to go up, because you're right, we did. A quarter point movement. In 14 months, they raised it. What should have been 1.5 points, they raised it to 5.5 points. And that's why everybody's upside down right now. So anybody who says they knew that was going to happen is lying to you. Nobody did. Because I have a curve that I shared with my investors where it showed what the Fed did and what other Fed chairmen have done. And they did this. And never in history has that ever been done. So I don't know if it's planned. I don't know if it was a knee-jerk reaction. But everybody knows, too, to truly see the effects of what they're doing, they have to wait a year. So I think they're going to pause. I think there'll be nothing in July when they talk again. I think you'll start to see a Fed fall in September. I talked to the guy one of the traders who helped us sell our rate cap policy. So I put 2 deals to bed. 2 of my 11 are put to bed. Did I make what I wanted to make? No. See, what we're making cookies here. We put the cookies in the oven for 5 years and we optimize the NOI. We raise income, we lower expenses, and we pop that NOI so you, the investor, get 100% return. That's what I've done 15 times. The Fed turned the heat up on the cookies, and if I let them in there, we're gonna get burnt, and they're not edible. So I had to take the cookies out of the oven. But what happens now? Now they're all mushy. They're not cooked right. Are they edible? Sure, they're edible, but they're not right. But what you have done, you saved the cookie, and you can put it in the cookie jar. And now we're going to restart the 10-year cycle so we can survive, right? Because that's what this is. Rates will fall, but it's not going to get to where we need them to get to until 2025. There'll be a steady decline, and there'll be buying opportunities along the way. But the motto in the industry to guys like me is to survive to 25. If you can get to 25, which means you got to have time and you got to have money. You got to be talking to your lenders. I have 2 deals that the loans expiring this month and next month. We were about to refinance, then the taxes came in and doubled on us, 150%. So the lender saw it. Hey, we're with you. We know you've never missed a payment. We know you've never been late on the payment. We know that you're about to refinance with us to a permanent product because this is on their balance sheet. We don't want to take it back. Yep. We like you. We're thinking we already have 5 deals with you. We want to keep lending to you. You're a good guy. You just got caught in something. So let's extend you out another 6 months. Let's give you time to protest your property taxes and we'll get those. So what successfully that happens, then I'll get 2 more done in the next, hopefully, 120 days, 140 days, 160 days. But that's
so Robert,
where we're at right
really
now.
Quickly, really quickly, to use the analogy of the plastic bag over the head, just so everybody's clear, right? What are some of these strategies that can be implemented by syndicators out there to buy them a little bit more time, just really quickly so everybody knows? And then could you dive into a little bit more of some of those strategies that you are implementing on your deals to save the cookies, so to speak?
Well, number one thing you have to do is you have to tell the investors, because what's happening is these guys aren't talking. They're not talking right now. And I was one of them. I didn't know what to say because I'm still trying to get knowledge. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm talking to Grant Cardone. I'm a $100,000 a year student to him. I'm talking to the people that I need to be talking to, getting into rooms. You guys are going to events. I'm sure you talk to a bunch of people and what giving you their opinions on what's going to happen. You have to get comfortable with the subject, and you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that's telling the investors, hey, we have a problem. So number one thing was I put the full court press on communicating with my investors. And I hadn't done it to this level. So we're now going to a monthly investor meeting debrief. This is what's going on in the portfolio. Here's our portfolio stats. Here's my top 5 performers. Here's my bottom 5 performers. And here's the state of Robert. Here's what I think is going on, the state of Rockstar. And if you share them with that, then they're truly a partner with you.
Yep.
Right? You can't just show up one day and say, hey guys, we're in trouble. They need to understand it. By the end of that meeting, I was told that was the most transparent webinar that anybody had ever given them on any deals that they're in with other people, which means the people with other syndicators aren't talking. Then we went on a weekly update. So every week on a Wednesday night, they will get stats of their previous week for the property that they're invested in. So if you're in Water Chase Apartments, you saw that we had 10 tours. We got 5 leases. We had 2 denials. Our occupancy is, 92%. Our 30-day is 94. Our 60-day is 96. And we give you a little bit of color. So it's like a mini monthly investor report. We, of course, do our monthly investor reports where we send everything out, the P&Ls, the bank statements, the balance sheets. And all but one of all my investors have said this is amazing. One said, hey, it's too much for me. I don't want it. I go, it's cool. Just delete it, bro. But everybody else loves it. What are you doing? You're building a bond with your investors.
That's right.
You're saying, I'm on it. I'm working this. I know we have a problem. Then you want to do little other webinars, if they're a random thought, hey, where are interest rates headed? So after that, people kept hitting me, where are interest rates headed? Where are interest rates headed? So we did a little webinar on that. So I think number one is you open up the communication and you tell them this is a 10-year cycle. And in the last recession, people lost money. They lost their deals because they lost money. We got to add money into the cookie jar. We just took a hit on taxes. We're taking a hit on insurance, and our interest rates are up. No distributions. I'm going to pause them for this quarter, and I'm going to keep sharing with you data. And together we'll make a decision on where our bank balance was then, where our bank balance is now. Should we distribute? The answer is going to be no. So we're probably going to pause distributions for the rest of this cycle. And what I mean, the rest of this annual cycle. And you know what? I think maybe only 2 of the investors came back and said that they don't agree. Everybody else is like, no, you're right. Other guys are doing this. Other guys are doing that. I think it's reckless. We are okay. We don't want to lose money. Play to survive, play to win another day. So you have to pause distributions, and you can't just keep, letting the purse be open. Then you got to find out what you do internally. And, we have 24 deals. So I ranked them by a third, 8, 8, and 8. My top third are between 95 and 99%. My bottom third are between 91 and 87.
And what percent is that, Robert? Percent of what?
A third of occupancy. Sorry, physical occupancy. Okay. And I'm like, any business though is being driven by the bottom third of their business. So it's time to cut heads.
That's good.
It's time to change the person or change the person. And I tell them, look, 90 days ago, this is where he was at. This is where he's at now. Look at the resume reviews. I'm losing money here. It's time to make a change. And as long as you can keep it quantitative and say, hey, this is just a numbers thing. Your numbers aren't there. I'm sorry, you got to go.
Yep.
And the management company, right, isn't a big fan of it, but I do that. I've had my own management company. And the hardest thing was letting people go because there's an emotional attachment. Right now, it is black and white to me, man. It is either you or it's me, and I'm not going to lose because of you. So it's time for you to go because I got $184 million depending on me making the right decision. And they don't want to hear that you've gone through personal issues. And I know that sounds ugly, but I'd rather be ugly than lose your 100,000, your 200,000, your 400,000 because I went easy on him or her.
Yep.
Because you're not going easy on me. You're upset with me that we're not distributing. You're upset with me that we're in these situations. Well, I'm going to have to fix it. So you've got to be direct with your management company, and you got to keep reminding them that we are in crisis mode, and you have to get into a famine expense model. What do we spending internally, and can we do it in-house?
Okay.
You know, the other day I told him, I need you to can somebody from the maintenance team. It's too big. Well, I don't know. We can do. Okay. Well, what's the problem? Well, we just can't. There's just so much to work. Okay. If you will can Johnny, I'll give you a golf cart. And they're like, what? I'll give you a brand new golf cart. And they're like, okay. Well, you know what? I think I can get rid of this guy over here too at this other community. Great. I'll give you 2 golf carts. Anybody else want a golf cart? And I'm in this meeting. This is recorded. Anybody else want a golf cart? And they're just looking at me. And the leadership in the management company is like, what are you doing? I go, I don't have time. If they're willing to say his name so fast in exchange for a golf cart, I know he's not worth keeping.
That's right.
Well, let's just do our math, right? Because I'm sure you guys teach your students on here what NOI is and valuation.
Yep.
If Johnny is $60,000 in salary, in healthcare, payroll taxes, whatever, divide that by 0.06, which I think 6 cap is fair. That's $1 million.
Yep.
I just added $1 million of valuation back to my property for a $7,000 golf cart.
Amazing.
Done.
I just got to make a quick comment here, Robert. Like just for the freedom chasers here on the call, it's this ninja stuff that you do, right? That it's just, you can only learn this stuff unless you're sharing a room with you. Like nobody out there is going to be talking like this story out where you say, hey, I offered people in the management company a golf cart to cut personnel, and I got them to do it. And it added millions of dollars right to my valuation. Like this is the stuff that, anyway, I just wanted to just highlight that because the value of information and to have proximity to you, especially with the experience that you had, especially on the operation side, it's just, you just don't hear stuff like this, man.
Yeah. So, and that, and you started out saying that. I don't think I explained and illustrated why I'm a 2-time national leader. See, I've had my own management company from 2007 up until 2022. And the only reason I got rid of it is because I hate HR. That is the only reason. I don't want to hear about somebody's sad story. I don't want to hear about somebody's spouse losing their job, or somebody's mother died, or somebody's on maternity. It's not my situation. I have my own issues. My daddy died. I missed the shit out of him. But you don't care about that. If you're an investor, you need me to keep moving forward and being a big boy and realize this is part of life and move forward, right? Well, everybody's issues are part of life. My management company between 2000 and Rockstar, between 2011 and 2022, when I closed the books on that, we had earned 19 city, state, national apartment association awards. That's City of the Year, Property of the Year, Property of the Year, Manager of the Year, Regional of the Year, Maintenance Man of the Year, and I won Texas of the Year, Texas Independent Owner of the Year, Houston Independent Owner of the Year, and the National Independent Owner of the Year twice. I won that because I know what I'm doing here. I've seen who you have. I've heard your other guests, and they're all qualified in their own way. They all have their superpower. My superpower is operations.
Absolutely.
I don't believe there's much better operator in the country than me, because I think I've lived it. It hurts when I lose, and I don't like losing. I don't want to be that guy that loses everything. So I'm very strong when it comes to ops because I've been lied to, I've been cheated on, I've done it all. And when you go through that, your guard comes up. And the best thing I did was get rid of the management company. And I missed it. I missed having my own management company. But now working with the third party I work with, I'm training them. I'm educating them. They see a difference between dealing with me as an owner operator, dealing with somebody else. And I promise you, their meetings are not like my meetings because I know too much. I'm not just here looking at the finances. I'm here telling you, I know how this works. I know somebody's sleeping on the job. I'm looking at these P&Ls, something's wrong here. And every time, 100% of the time, when I have said somebody needs to go, within a few weeks to a month, they're gone. And it's because they start sniffing. I have my sniffer. My sniffer's queued for 15 years. I have this very strong sense of what smells right and what smells wrong. And I know when things aren't there. And now we're in crisis mode. I've got to cut expenses. So I'm just going to ask you the tough question. I know the answers. I'm going to ask you a tough question. If I get rid of this person, will you accept a golf cart? See, I was making it their idea. to get rid of Johnny and later Jose. But I was going to do it anyway. I just need to teach them to grow.
That's
And
right.
in exchange, I'll give you a golf cart or two because I know there's a productivity benefit. Maybe I'll buy 2 golf carts per person. Maybe that's the next one. Maybe tomorrow I have my meeting Tuesday. Maybe say, you know what? This I'm going to give you 2 golf carts for 1 more person.
There we go. There we go.
I need the $1 million.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
I'll give you the $7,000 golf cart. It's all spitty, spiffed up and whatever, you know? And the leasing agent is the same way. Maybe I'll get rid of a leasing agent. And here's your leasing golf cart. You know,
right.
You've got to be creative. You got to find ways. Like you're going to protest taxes and you're going to try to shop your insurance, whatever. But what else can you? This is a people game, right? You have these people sitting in the chair running 30, 40, 50, $70 million apartment complexes that we own. Who are they? Are they qualified to be there? Can they balance their own checkbook? Because they're running your checkbook and they're making decisions on who to let in, who not to let in. They're making decisions on when to change out carpet, when not to change out carpet. They're making decisions on when to return, a customer service call. I went shopping apartments this weekend. My fiance needs a new apartment. And we went to Hanover. Fantastic company. And what I know about them is that they're I've always wanted to have a McDonald's approach. If you worked at one of my assets, whether you worked in Washington or you worked in Chicago or you worked in Houston, everything should be exactly the same. The fries are over there, the burgers are over there, the produce is over there, and how that integrate is a procedure. That's how it's being in the apartments. That's exactly how Hanover was. And I got in 3 times. Everybody called me back. Everybody double checked the appointment. I showed up, greeted me. They did everything they were supposed to do. And in fact, there's a plaque there with something they didn't do, which shows that they're #1 ranked in Aura as a property management company. Giant, and my properties have #1 rankings on some of my deals for customer satisfaction, like ranked in the top 1%. They call it the elite 1%. Their company was ranked #1 management company for the region or for whatever. And I was like, wow, that's impressive, right? I go to the hot shit, brand new property, high rise that's up, that everybody wants to live at.
Mm-hmm.
I called before I bought my house. I called them for an appointment, couldn't get in. They wouldn't return my call. I called them this week, and I said, "Hey, we're here Saturday. Can you get us in?" Couldn't get in. Why? Because they didn't return the call. And there is 72%, and these other guys are in the mid-90s.
Wow.
And that's the difference to people. This is a people game. So every week, my guys will call my asset managers will call my properties to see if the manager will open up. And if they don't, I send an Actigram to management.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Because you cannot take your eyes off the ball. Even though I'm not the management company anymore, I am responsible. I'm not going to lose in this recession because so-and-so is lazy, or because so-and-so is not as good as me. You may have a big fancy resume, you may work at a big blue chip company, but if you were me, then you'd be the one signing on the dotted line. You would be the one that raised $184 million. And that's what I'm trying to say here is that this is all about you. I'm thankful that back in the day, they made me quit my day job and come work this every day. I walked away from $150 a year to make $32,000 on site for the first several months until we bought another deal. And then I went up to like 40 something. Then we bought another deal, went up to like 60 or 70 something. I don't remember anymore, but
that's great.
We were forced to swim on the deep end. And now, and I know human behavior, humans are lazy. Humans will lie to you. They'll do it all to cover their ass. Well, I don't have that luxury. I've got to survive. And right now I've got to have my finger, my thumb on the pulse of the business. And if something is irregular, it's going to get cut.
Absolutely. Robert, just so everybody understands, why is it important right now for you to have an additional $1 million, let's say, of added evaluation, as opposed to, hey, well, let's put this person a little bit later, right? Why now?
Well, yeah, because I just said, right, like we have massive expense increase. Nothing. See, we have what we call controllable expenses and non-controllable. Controllable is I can touch it. I can change my landscape vendor. I can decide whether or not I want to change out a carpet or not. I can decide whether or not I want to use this software. Now, I can control that. I can control turnover, whether or not I want to give somebody a $0 increase to keep them there. because all the money you make in real estate happens when people renew, not when they move in.
That's right.
But I can't control taxes and insurance. I don't have any control at all. I can fight them, I can negotiate, but that's it. And we just saw 100% increase in our insurance. It's massive. So if I have let's just do the math. If I have a $700 a door increase on a 200 unit property, that's $140,000 a year. Divide that by a 6 cap. I just lost $2.33 million of value.
Oh man, that hurts.
So I cannot sell, I cannot refinance. I've got to stay in this game so that I can get to 25 or I can get to 27. So when cap rates come down, interest rates come down, valuation goes back up, I can skyrocket, just like I did on that deal that I talked to you about in the beginning. But in the meantime, I've got to survive. So if I can cut Joey or Johnny or Jose and I can save $1 million, that helps me offset that loss.
10-4. That's excellent. Robert, we're about to open it up for Q&A really quick.
Oh yeah, let's go. Q&A is where you learn, baby.
You have an amazing opportunity for everybody actually coming up. So I want to give you a minute or two just to explain what's happening this coming week. And I wanted to sprinkle a little 2 cents on there as well after you get done, because obviously we've been there before. And then we'll open it up for Q&A if that's all right.
Yeah, so everybody, so again, I am an apartment owner. That's what I identify myself. I'm an apartment owner, operator that syndicates. And I need to syndicate. I need it to grow. And I did it the right way. I bought one deal a year. For the first 4 or 5 years, one deal a year before I started buying. And they were all baby deals, 100 to 150 unit deals. Until I got comfortable being able to buy bigger deals. And because there's a difference between running a small team and a big team. And I realized that I can give back a lot. There's a lot of people that need a lot of help. And I didn't lose a single dollar during the recession. And if things, God willing, I won't lose a single dollar now. But I know not everybody's in that situation. I want to help people. I want to make sure that I help people get out there and don't make mistakes. And so, you know, my multifamily freedom guys here, I'm happy to have them in my education program. I think they're smart and they realize that, man, I've got to get ideas from a lot of different ways, people, but I got to align myself with somebody who actually knows how to operate apartments. There's so much money out there. There's no reason for you not to be able to syndicate, but can you operate? What happens when the ink is dry on the dotted line? It's time to go to work. And so I believe I've created an educational program like no other, one that's taught by a true apartment operator, and not just a guy that bought 1 or 2 deals. I bought over 30 deals in my life. I still run 24 assets, 5,000 apartment units. But my claim to fame is that I'm the country's only 2-time National Apartment Owner of the Year. And that means I'm the only guy who has an education program that can actually say that he's a 2-time National Apartment Owner of the Year. And I want to share with you what I know. I want to help you form your team. I want to help you get prepared for this market, because this is going to be a 24-month opportunity to just accelerate your growth. Anybody today that has unit count, me, Rock Khalif, you know, Brad Sumrock up in Dallas, apartment syndicator, not operator. You know, anybody that survived, that's still around today, got started during that Great Recession. And that's who you need to be listening to right now on what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. I've lived this. And being in Houston, being exposed to energy, I've had a lot of this in my 15 years. So I never get complacent. We don't forecast 10% rent growth every year like people in Dallas or Austin or whatever. None of these guys have seen this kind of market, which means that none of them have taken a punch to the face. And we're about to find out who a contender is and who the pretenders are real quick. We're going to find out who has the glass jaw, the boxing term, or who isn't.
Yep.
And I want to make sure that you are on the right track. So we have a mastermind coming up this week in Houston. I'm sorry for the short notice, but I promise you it'll be worth it. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 2 days in my office. You will see my team. You will see how we go and we look at deals. You'll meet my key influencers, my people that help me in my team, my main mortgage broker. You're going to meet a couple of the sales brokers that I use to find deals. You're going to Get an opportunity to get every question you asked answered. And then on Friday, we're going to go on a bus road trip. You're going to go to my assets. This is my town. So I'm going to take you to my restaurants, and I'm going to take you to my properties, and I'm going to show you the town. And this is where you get a chance to actually touch the brick. This is to get it where you get a chance to ask questions of the staff, both the on-site staff and the management staff. And no, sorry, virtual is not available. And you get a chance to come in person, because that's when you're we all know what happens on virtual. You know, you don't pay attention to everything. You've got to be in the room. The money is made in the room. You got to meet the Freedom Boys. You got to meet Chris Luna, Alex Lovely.
That's right.
Mike Ketchum. You got to meet these guys that are in the program doing deals, and you got to hear from them what they're doing. That's how you grow. There was no virtual. There was no virtual when I got started. You show up. You show up and you're in that room and you commit to it. And I go, hey, I know it's short notice and I'm sorry, but you guys just went to a big event, right? To this Florida one, right? How different would that event been had you been watching online?
It would have been 99% different.
What is the biggest difference? It's just meeting people and shaking hands.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, the networking, the dinners, I believe the dinners are so important that if you pay VIP, that means the world to me. That's $7,500. You will spend extra time with me in the evening. First night at my house.
Yep.
And you get to come to my house. We enjoy a cocktail. We have some great food that I'll have catered in, and we'll spend the evening together talking and getting to know each other so that you are comfortable. So that the next day when you're there in class, man, I know Robert now. I know he's real. I want to ask him. I've been wanting to ask this question. You should leave with there's only 40 people in the room. You should leave with every question answered that is in your head. We'll do another VIP dinner on Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll spend all day. We'll do a happy hour when we're done. And we'll go and tour deals. The Freedom guys came in. They were able to tour a couple of our deals. We're going to go to different ones, guys. Don't worry. And you know, you get to, what did you learn when you guys came to the Friday trip?
So when we went to the mastermind, Robert, I mean, it was incredible. Our takeaways were, it's from a high level, right? Because we can't get too much in the weeds. But first of all, the people in the room are unbelievably qualified. Granted, there's a spectrum of experience, right? But we're talking about highly qualified, high level professional people. And I mean, for the people that have been on, you know, our Activation Zoom for this year, I mean, we've had 2 people that we met during that mastermind come on as our celebrity guest, just to give everybody a taste and a window into the kind of quality people that are there. So that's number one, the networking. Number 2, the proximity to you, Robert. And our thought process was this: we're just getting into the space. There's a limited window of opportunity where we need to get all of our ducks in a row, where we need to have these relationships in place, like with yourself, so that we can capitalize on this small window of opportunity that we may only see once in our lifetime. And when we met at the real estate summit back in December and heard you just start opening your mouth and talking about your knowledge. And of course, it's the knowledge combined with, you know, the person that you are and the leader that you are. We were like, we got to get close to this guy. And to hear you speak for all day, every day of the mastermind, and just dropping, I mean, I still got, it's right here. It's my workbook. There's your picture. It's literally right here on my desk since the mastermind. Because I reference it from time to time, you know, just the value that's presented in the educational content. So, and I would highly recommend the VIP ticket is more than worth it. So I would encourage everybody, if they can make it out, definitely go VIP route.
I appreciate that, you know, and it means a lot. When you guys do that VIP, it means the world to me. So I want to make sure that I give you guys the very best show you can. You know, I'm not here to do smoke and mirrors. I'm not Brad Sumrock of Everett Lights and look like I'm Tony Robbins. I don't want to be Tony Robbins. I want to be Robert Martinez. I want to be the best damn apartment operator that I know, that I can be, that you know. And then you and I met, right? We all met at Grant Cardone's Real Estate Summit. And you guys were kind of like, you know, warming up with somebody else, I remember. And I was like, man, he's only been in the game for a short amount of time. Let's see what happens. And I think you guys made the right call, you know, working with someone who actually has a track record of 15 years and who actually has won awards and is actually it's not theory to me. I've done this 15 times. So 15 times I've returned 100% of the money back. This year I did 2 more refinance events, but it wasn't 100%. These were the strategic. This is like, man, I'm in a pickle. I've got rising interest rates. I got to protect the investors. I got to get my little boat out of the water and put it in the harbor and write this out.
That's right.
That's right. I've got 2 more boats that I'm going to try to get into the harbor, and the rest, guess what? We're going to have to sail right into the thunderstorm. And if you're going through hell, you don't stop. So we're going to go right through it. You're going to be able to see. That's the thing. I think I do a good job of sharing what I'm going through on a week-to-week basis. The Freedom guys are also in my accelerator program. That's something that's different. That you really like the mastermind, you can get involved in that as well. That's a weekly Zoom call where we're talking high level. I share with you the exact email that I sent to the investors. I'll share with you the videos that the YouTube videos that I sent to the investor presentations. You'll get day by day information as I get it, because I want to help you. I want to give you the most viable. I want to over deliver. But at this mastermind, this is to get you started. This is to get you to get the confidence. We'll underwrite deals together, and then for you to go and finish it out by touching the brick, talking to the staff. So it's going to be Wednesday through Friday, May 19th through May 21. It's in Houston, Texas. It's in my office. We will sit in the conference room. We'll have lunch brought in during the day, and we will be asking a lot of questions and getting them answered. So, man, let's hit it right now.
Let's go. Let's open it up for Q&A. Let's open it up for Q&A, y'all. We just got a few more minutes here. Raise your hand. We will unmute you, and you will get a chance to talk to the apartment rockstar. Who's going to be first to fire away a question? And while the hands are coming, Robert, I just wanted to, that was one of the striking points about you when we went to the mastermind was your transparency, right? And there's no smoke and mirrors. The transparency of exactly what you're going through right now, which is actually, it's not lollipops and butterflies, so to speak. No. It's actually extremely difficult. And so we appreciate your transparency and vulnerability and kind of laying it all out on the table. So, all right, Jadens, thank you for raising your hand. I hope I said your name right. We're going to ask you to unmute and fire away.
What's up, Robert? Good to see you again.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, so I know for a lot of us right now, we're trying to figure out how to underwrite a deal with the debts the way they are, and obviously knowing the insurance has gone crazy and whatnot. What's your easiest or best tips for deal or no deal once you've done your
number one, Jaden, be patient. The market's going to come to you. I just got my renewal for my insurance. It came April 1, and it was through the roof. And everything that I'm seeing is it's going to continue to go up. So that means the guys the rest of the year have to get their renewal too. See, and when they do, it's going to bring their pricing down because you are going to be a market buyer. And if your insurance is this number and his is this number, I'm sorry, I can't use your number. I've got to use my number. He's going to have to accept your number, which means that his NOI is going to be lower and his deal is going to be worth less. Then he has decision time. Do I still sell it or do I wait? There's a lot of deals right now that are for sale. It's a massive number of deals. It's a huge uptick. But how many are really closing? I don't know. Because when you go do your due diligence,
I'm suspecting it's very few.
It's very few, right? Because guys are getting their debt quotes. They're talking to their property tax guy and saying, what's taxes going to look like next year? What should I budget? And then third, they're talking to their insurance guy. How much is it going to be for me to insure this? And he's going to tell you. And when you do your underwriting, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I was offering too much. And you're going to offer. And that's why you're hearing brokers, hey, just send an offer. Just send an offer. They know it's bullshit. They know it's not real. They know that the deals aren't going to sell for that. So the longer you wait and you allow that interest, you allow that property insurance to make its way through the market, deals are going to come down. You also have the interest that's still high, right? Every month, people are dipping into their rainy day account. You know, how much reserves do they have? My personal deals, we've had good times for a lot of time, for a long time. So in multifamily real estate, when you have a permanent debt loan or you have loans, you have replacement reserves that the bank will include as part of their mortgage coupon, and they take it from you. Taxes, insurance, and property replacement reserves, meaning they want you to reinvest into the deal. So they force you to do it by taking the money from you. And then when you need it, you're supposed to resubmit for that money, right? So this is one of the tips I should have said earlier, Trevor. We had many of our accounts, we have 150, 200, $250,000 just sitting there that we've never tapped because things were so good that we paid for all of those CapEx items out of pocket. And now it's time for me to go cash that rainy check. So for the last 2 weeks, I know Ashley and Jason are listening. I've been hard on my analysts, my finance guys, my asset team, hitting every single lender. Hey guys, we don't have your capital replacement table. Please send it. Send me the last time that we did a replacement draw, 2019, 2020. So we have tons of money sitting in there. Okay, what can we go in there? Well, you can do appliances, carpet, parking repairs, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. We've done all of those, but we pay for out of our own pocket. Now we have too many expenses. We have too much exposure. So we're having to go claim that money right now to put money back into the accounts. So I'm hoping that by doing that, not distributing to the investors, I can get past this window. Because rates are still going up. We still get rent growth, right? So, but is everybody, my point to this, Drayden, is that, is everybody in that position? Do they have money to access? Can they go get it? If they can't, then they're gonna lose. So all you have to do is be patient. You know, one of the things that you guys really need to focus on, right, is that this is a marathon. This is not a sprint.
Right.
And you watch Grant Cardone. He's raised $400, $500 million right now, and he's sitting on it, salivating. He's trying to be disciplined as much as he can. He has to let the market come. He hasn't bought an apartment deal in probably a year and a half. And he was buying a deal like every quarter, multiple deals. And he's waiting for the market to implode. He's waiting for it to crash. It will be an artificial crash created by the Fed. It is not an economic crash yet. And I think the Fed's realizing that they've broken 4 or 5 banks. And in the last recession, 25 failed. And who's buying them? This is another story. Who's buying them? JP Morgan.
Yep.
Bank of America's next. If you haven't seen on HBO Max, Too Big to Fail, go watch it. It is exactly what's occurring in the market right now with the Federal Reserve Chairman, then versus now, and they're causing bank failures. You're going to see what's going to happen. So, Jaden, be patient, man. Keep underwriting. Start treating this like a business, and that's one thing I learned from Grant. Underwrite as many deals as you can. Send out low ball LOIs. Okay, send them out. And when I mean low ball, I mean it has to work for you. They may think it's low ball, but your underwriting says this is what market is. I want to send a market-driven LOI.
Yep.
And then put it on a spreadsheet. And then just stay in touch. Stay in touch. Hang around the rim. Hang around the rim where the broker's at. Hang around the rim. Hey, you have any news this week? Yeah, we have more offers. A couple of deals are higher than yours. Okay, well, I'm here. I'm firm in my number. Let me know what happens. When it finally trades,
good.
Market. Now I know what it is at this point in the market. What happened to me is that one of the reasons why I only bought 1 deal a year in the beginning, and this is very important, Trevor. Listen to this. So I've not said this. When I was buying in 2010 through 2014, I was buying 1 deal a year. I would start around the 6-month mark, and it would take me a full 3 months of LOI sending in before I actually hit one. And then it would take me 3 months to close. And the reason why is that the market was correcting upward. It was bouncing from the recession. So I was trying to go back at 24.5, 15.5. Nope, cap rates were higher. I'm sorry, cap rates were lower. Excuse me, cap rates are lower. And I kept missing. It took me 3 to 6 months of putting LOIs out before I got one because I had to catch the market.
Yeah.
Right now, the market's in the other direction. You send an LOI in, it may be worth less in a month.
Yeah.
And so, Jaden, that's what you got to be aware of, right? You got to know that your LOI may be worth less later. So just watch the market. Here's the thing too. If you guys are newbies, right? You are unknown to the broker. The way you become known is by creating a relationship. If you keep calling, you keep hanging around the rim, eventually he starts to think that you're real. because all brokers want to get paid. All sellers want to get the deal sold.
Facts.
He may use your deal, your LOI, as a stalking horse against Trevor. Let's say you have 0 deals and Trevor's got 2. Trevor's got the upper hand because he knows Trevor, especially if he's closed with that broker before. Trevor's going to have the upper hand. He doesn't know you. He doesn't know if you can deliver the equity. He doesn't know if you're just kicking tires and you can do this. The way you show them that is by staying on it. And the next final thing to this is make sure you're documenting your story on social media and you're telling them what you're doing, because you're going to have to raise that equity if you get that deal. And if you don't have your equity raised, ready to go, you don't have your spreadsheet of leads and contacts in HubSpot or whatever, you're going to have a hard time raising the equity. So the way you do it is build a reputation. Hey, my name is Jade. You see this apartment complex behind me? It's 56 units. I love it. It's $200 below market. I'm going to put in $150,000 of my family's money. I need to raise another $850,000. I love where it's at. It's on the corner of Main and Main. I have the broker's attention. I have an LOI. If you're interested in this, let me know. Webinar will be on Tuesday.
Boom.
Done. Show your commitment. Tell them it's your family's money. Tell them how much more you need to raise. Tell them, some of the returns. I probably should have said that. Some of the returns to juice it up so that they can attend the webinar, and then keep watching webinars.
Fantastic.
Keep pushing them on. There's a guy that we know who didn't get his funding on a deal in Tennessee. And I suspect, I don't know this, Trevor, you probably would know better, you and Mark, and he had to get an extension, a couple of them. But he kept pushing webinars. He kept pushing emails. He kept pushing that drip out. And I guess he finally must have got the deal closed, because I never saw another email on it. But for 3 straight months, I'm seeing email. So you've got to stay in front of the people, right? The reason why you want to live on that phone, because that's where everybody exists. And the reason why you want to be there is that if people don't know you, Jaden, they can't flow you.
That's right.
So you have a contact and you have a contract. And the way you turn that contract into a contract is you have an R. You have a relationship with them. The letter R makes that contact into a contract.
That's good.
And so you have to remember that. So you can't just decide, I want to buy deals, and then not tell anybody about it. You got to let everybody know, I'm looking to buy deals.
Boom.
So that you have people who can help you. So when I told these guys, hey, I want to bring some people into our mastermind, they were like, yeah, come on in.
That's
Use
right.
our platform. Share.
Right.
And Jaden, I don't know you that well, but now we know each other better because we're having another engagement. And that's how this works.
That's right. Jaden, thank you for your question. We appreciate you coming tonight. Robert, for the sake of time, we're 5 minutes over, but we want to give one more question.
Yeah.
Tossed at you, if that's okay.
Done. Let's do it.
Kevin, hey, great to see you, man. It was awesome to see you again in Miami. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Fire away, brother.
Awesome. Hey, Robert, Trevor,
Hey, man.
Marcel. Good to see you, man.
You too.
So I was curious, what do you think are the forces that are keeping cap rates at what seem to be unreasonable levels? I don't know whether the brokers are lying. Just one deal I was looking at, I underwrote it at 16 million. He said they're getting offers at 20 million and he's sure it's going to go for 20 million. So is it dumb money? Is it 1031 money? What do you think it is that hasn't allowed a real correction to take root?
Are they actually closing?
Well, that's
remember,
the thing. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm curious. I
You
don't
gotta
know.
wait,
I guess
baby.
we'll find out. Exactly.
You're gonna
Yep.
find out. Yeah, I don't think they're closing. I think you have a market where greed is there. Everybody wants to rip somebody else's face off. So but they also got to get deals closed. See, they haven't done deals. These guys that place money haven't been able to place money, right? Haven't been able to transact in a year. So they're pushing their equity money into deals that may not work. That's number one. If they're closing. 2, what else do you want the broker to tell you?
Yep.
He's gonna lie to you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
He wants you to date. He's not gonna tell you he's got HIV until later. He wants to get married right now. Right now. He doesn't want to tell you that his family is, you know, I don't know, from outer space or something. He needs to get your attention. So that's the only way he gets paid, because he's got to get the conversation going. He's got to get as many offers in there as possible. So you hold discipline, you send the offer that you need to send, and wait. That's why I said track the deals. And above all, realize, man, there is always another deal. I've seen so many deals in my life. It is amazing how many deals transact, you know, across the country I know nothing about. Don't worry. Don't worry. The more hungry you are, the more but you want him to think, man, this guy wants to date me. He's calling me every day. He's calling me every night. You want to befriend him. You want him to get around. The truth will come out in the end. Have you done a deal before?
No.
Okay.
And I put an LOI in just to get the practice.
There you go. Yeah. So he's lying to you. He wants to use you as a stalking horse. You're not proven to him yet, right? So he's gonna try to get you to give him the best offer he can, to get the real buyer to give him the offer that he needs.
Mm-hmm.
But what you need to do is track it. Well, man, I can't do 20 million, bro. I can do 18. That's where I'm at. I'm not gonna move a penny more. Okay. Next thing you know, you're gonna get a call. And here's the truth. Here's where you know, Kevin, if they start calling you. If they're calling you over and over, Kevin, he's lying to you.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's so busy, he's not going to mess with you. If he's calling you, that means what he's saying to you, he's lying. He doesn't have what he's saying that he has. This is a negotiation. He works for the seller to generate the best result possible. All he can do is create FOMO in you. That's all he can do. And that's what every broker is trained to do. Rightfully so. That's what they do. I'd want the highest price, right? So I get it. You got to be a diligent, disciplined investor to know what's real and what's not. And you got to come to my mastermind, man. That was a great question that I really think you can benefit from.
Yep. I'm gonna check it out. I don't think I can make it, but you have the accelerator open year round, right?
I do the
accelerator.
accelerator.
All right, awesome.
Every week. We get questions like that all the time. You know,
Cool.
I don't want to let anybody get into a bad deal. That's what you got to do. He's playing the game. I'm not seeing deals sold because the buyer and the seller have to meet.
That's right.
Somebody's got to make that introduction, and he's got to get you to come up to the buyer's level, because the buyer can't come down. He can't come below 20, because then he'll lose money. Another thing too, you guys need to find a database that shows you this. That we use CoStar. It's a little bit expensive. I heard they might have a $300 a month option now, so that might be good. But there's other sources. Look up data that would tell you who owns it, what they pay, how long they've owned it for, and what they last paid for it. And you'll find out what their pressures are. If you see any loan originating in 2019 to 2021, they're upside down. I know this because I'm living it. Remember when Trump was saying, I know, how do you say? He goes, I know all the donors. I know all the games because I'm one of them. I know how not to pay taxes. Every donor here, they don't pay taxes either. Yet Hillary Clinton is saying she wants me to show my tax returns. Show me your tax returns. How did you become a multimillionaire and you're making $200,000 a year as a public servant, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody knows this game, right? So you just don't get caught up into that.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert.
That was a good question, though, Kevin.
Thanks,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Appreciate it. Y'all, we are going to hit the home stretch here, but before we do, pull out your phone. Robert was absolutely fantastic tonight. We want to document this moment. Throw it up on social, show love to him and the Rockstar, Apartment Rockstar, and the Rockstar team. Robert has a fantastic team with him. We've met all of them, and they're just absolutely amazing. So, Robert, if it's okay, we're going to pull out our phones right now and take a quick picture and throw it up on Instagram.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Hold on. Here we go.
There we go. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Hope everybody got that picture. Excellent.
So find me on Instagram at Apartment Rockstar. I share data like this all the time. Like that Q&A we just had right now with Kevin and with Jaden. Those are the kind of questions that I answer all the time. What's going on in the market? What are you doing? I'm telling you right now, increase communication to the investors, bolster the bank balances in whatever way you can. Find a way to cut expenses, find a way to people to pay you back money that owe you, and talk to your management companies and say, what can you do without? Where can we cut? The biggest way will be the people. The next biggest thing is for people not to move out. Because every time somebody moves out, it costs you valuation. If it costs you $3,500 to get a unit rent ready after they move out at a 6 cap, what is that? You've lost $58,000 of value. But if they renew, you've gained $58,000 of value. You can make, that's why in the apartment world, we made so much money during COVID, Trevor and Victor, because nobody moved out. They were afraid to walk out their door. So what they do, they automatically signed the renewal. We saw expenses way down, which was really bad because that's when the rates were low too. So we saw all these high valuations. People were paying low cap rates on all those COVID deals that they were buying. And it created a really bad storm.
Yep, it did. Well, this was great, Robert. Victor, share your screen, please, and we'll bring us home with some final announcements.
Thanks, everybody.
Robert, we appreciate you so very much. And go to the next screen, please, Victor. Guys, Robert and his team are so generous. They believe in the Freedom Chasers community, just like we put our belief in them to help us continue leveling up. And they've extended an exclusive Multifamily Freedom Chasers discount for his mastermind coming up this weekend. It's crazy. You can see the discount right there.